information hardwired into the computer's circuits. By no coincidence at all, the man the headset had been designed for sat in the locked compartment, waiting patiently as Dashik R7 gunned its finely tuned and subtly modified Solovyovs a touch more aggressively than a casual observer might have expected. For the first 30 yards down the runway, it might properly be described as lumbering. From that point on, however, it moved with the efficiency of a well-tuned military jet, leaping rather than faltering into the sky. Stefan Moishik, more accurately known as Stephen Martin, though only to his ultimate employer, breathed slowly and deeply as the plane took off. Willing his consciousness to remain locked in the Zen meditation exercise he had practiced for months. The Dramamine he had taken a half-hour ago calmed his stomach, but there was no cure for the claustrophobic feel of the small compartment, nor the sensation of helplessness that crept across his shoulders as the Ilyushin climbed. Martin knew that his anxiety would pass. It always did. But knowing such a thing could not completely erase his fear. When Martin had come to Russia at the start of the Wave 3 missions 3 months before, he felt mildly agitated at takeoff and landing. Now his heart pounded and sweat poured from every part of his skin, his breath the erratic cacophony of a dozen pneumatic drills firing at once. Ironically, he was himself a pilot, though not qualified on multi-engined craft. Martin spent the first 27 minutes after takeoff tonight in high panic. 2 large blades, one black, one white, twisted in the middle of his chest, their dagger points entwined around his heart. 28 minutes after takeoff, a low tone sounded in his headset. Martin took a long breath, then reached his fingers to adjust the mouthpiece. His fingers trembled so badly that he had a great deal of difficulty setting it in place. Yet once it was there, the panic ebbed. "Readying startup," he told the pilot over the interphone. "Roger that. We are 15 minutes from Alpha." Martin looked up at the blank screens for a moment, then reached to the counter and placed his hand on a highly polished rectangle at the right. The sensors below read his fingerprints. Red dots appeared in the middle of the screens. "Command, system activate. Diagnostics 1, said Martin. The computer did not acknowledge directly. Instead, a pink light flickered at the center of both screens, and then their dark surfaces flared with a barrage of color. A mosaic of different shades, actually a diagnostic screen for the video components, materialized in mirror images, one atop the other. Martin settled his hands into his lap, thumbs together over his thighs. The computer spent the next 5 minutes testing itself and the discrete burst communication system it used to communicate with the outside world. When that was done, it turned its diagnostics to the intricate grid embedded in its wings, fine-tuning the induction device so that it could pick up the presence of a discarded compass magnet at 50,000 feet. The computer had to get considerably closer to the ground to pick up the magnetic patterns on a spinning disk drive, 15,000 feet, though they would fly at 12,000 to give themselves a margin for error. "Alpha in 09, said the pilot, just as the tests were complete. "Yes," said Martin. His eyes focused on the pattern of colored dots on the top screen. The computer could easily filter very strong magnetic fields as Dashik R7 passed over them. The great difficulty was dealing with subtle sources. For some reason, discarded telephones presented the greatest difficulty. All of Martin's tweaks, delivered as voice commands and prods on the touch-sensitive screens, barely screened 50% of the devices from their net. Given that they had a limited capacity to transmit the data to the collection satellites above, and the fact that they had to fly without arousing suspicion, every mistaken capture was costly. On their last flight, Martin had recorded the data of a fax machine apparently belonging to a dentist. He suspected that colleagues would now refer to him as the periodontist in derision. Martin pointed to a magenta cluster at the right-hand side of the screen and made a circular motion with his index finger. The cluster zoomed into a white-lined box with a black legend at the edge. A 20-megabyte hard drive, probably belonging to a laptop. Had they been transmitting, a tap in the middle of the cluster would have uploaded all of the magnetic patterns into the capture satellite above. From there, it would have been beamed back to the U.S. for analysis. Within 12 or 15 hours, depending on the shift, the contents of the drive would be available for detailed inspection. Satisfied that he had the gear tuned as well as he could, Martin ordered the computer